I love that ad.
I love that ad. I love that ad.
Hello, and welcome to our first podcast. This is strange. I got myself and Aaron Chalke here, the full team from Foe. So we decided to record this podcast just around all things advertising. One of the main reasons being due to the fact we're both working remotely at the minute. We have been for quite some time. We don't really get to kind of talk ads as much as we used to just in the office. You know what I mean? Or even when you'd be meeting someone out for a coffee or just chatting in general. We used to always just talk everything advertising. If you saw something great or you saw something you didn't like or whatever. So what we wanted to do was just do a nice little podcast, something that just talks about the things that we like in advertising and just interesting things that might potentially be going on. And we thought it just would be an easy way for us to kind of put this out there and to at least get to have these conversations, because it's just something it's kind of really gone from the wayside. And we got into this industry because we love advertising and we love ads. So this is a way for us to kind of show that and talk about it, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also quite obligatory that you run a podcast at some stage in 2020 or 2021. So we're just getting it out of the way now.
Exactly. I just can't wait till Squarespace sends the email to offer the sponsorship. I'm definitely going to turn them down.
I'm counting for MeUndies. That's what I'm holding out for.
MeUndies. Yeah, well, you're a big fan of MeUndies, aren't you?
Let's think of it. That's a different podcast topic, I think.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do for this first podcast, given the fact that it's January, we're a little bit into the new year. Obviously, Christmas is a massive time of year for advertising. So what we wanted to do was we're just going to reflect. We both just got an ad each that we want to talk about from this Christmas just gone, just to be like why it stood out for us, what we liked about it. And I guess I'll go first. So Aaron, I think I've sent you the link.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Okay. So play.
Super duper coordination.
Wow, how'd you put that together? Where'd you get that from? I know, right? It's a gift.
Did you buy the girl a designer outfit?
Yes. She's had such a hard year. She blooming well deserves it, if you ask me.
Everyone deserves great gifts this season. How festive.
So
go for it.
So yeah, that's TK Maxx. That's their Christmas 2020 campaign, The Little Goat. So it's by creative agency Whedon and Kennedy in or W+K, whatever you want to know them as. Based out of London. So it's what I really liked about this ad, because there's so many Christmas ads. I'm a big fan of humor in advertising. I don't think humor is used or as utilized as much as it potentially could be. And especially this year, with all that was kind of going on, what I love about is what this ad doesn't say. Like, the only reference to 2020 is the goat has had a hard year. That's it. But that's what it's been a tough year for everyone. We don't need to spell it out. Everyone knows how shit 2020 was. I don't need to see how shit it is. It's been reflected in this. And yeah, even the goat. So it's almost like playing on the fact that you had a bad year. That's grand. Even the goat had a bad year. Treat yourself.
But let's be honest. The actor there, because he's saying it in a Welsh accent, he could have said anything. He could have read the ingredients of at the back of a pack of crisps, and he would have got away with it.
But I just think it just makes me smile every time I saw it over Christmas.
Yeah.
And it actually, what was interesting about the fact, because there was a few other funny ads, like Tesco's ad was quite funny this year as well. But I just liked that it just didn't do too much, and the fact that it was sandwiched on TV screens between so many other emotive ads, it stood out even more as something different.
Yeah, I found the TK Maxx ad. I saw it a lot over Christmas, and it didn't get kind of tiresome after a good few views. You still kind of like the goat. The accent and the way they delivered the lines was brilliant. I love the way she's questions in did you buy the goat a sweater? And she just accepts the answer. And she's like, fair enough, the goat did deserve a sweater. But like, those kind of ads, especially when you're pitching them, that's you're taking a bit of a leap of faith. One, that the humor will come off, that it's going to actually be funny once you actually produce the thing, and two, that the animation of the goat is going to look believable and cute enough that it carries the ad. So it was a big risk, I think, creatively actually pitching it, but also the client running with it. But it paid off. It works really well, and I think the casting is perfect for the husband and wife. You assume is the husband and wife team there in the cottage.
Yeah, so like one of the things around, I was doing some research on the actual ad itself, and it was around the fact they were able to shoot it safe, COVID safe. Like the production was streamed to the creative team to give feedback on lines and things like that. So based on the fact the whole thing been stripped down, which I just thought was interesting. So it was shot and thought about this year. I just love it. It's always tougher to be the funny person in the room, because if you put yourself out there to make a joke, there's a chance someone won't laugh.
Yeah. And
it's just nice to see a brand do something funny around Christmas, and especially this year, it was just, there was always going to be really good creative that was emotive, but just it stood out more because it didn't go down that route for me.
And I suppose it's true to TK Maxx kind of brand in general. They're not the ha funny type of brand, but their ads are always a little bit left of center, whether they're creatively left of center. Yeah. They do speculate with a bit of humor now and again. Having Bill Nighy as their VO for the last few years really helps that, because he is that character in one of the best Christmas films of all time, being Love Actually. So it kind of, you do kind of bring that along with you when you're doing an ad like that. And I think what you said there, shooting a COVID safe, I think you can see that in a lot of Christmas ads this year. There's a lot of animation in the ads. You look at your McDonald's ads, your John Lewis ads. There's a lot that you could see productions kind of that were deliberately keeping people on set or people on screen together at a bit of a minimum, and you can see how they went about the production, which was interesting, and it kind of, a lot of them worked. They did the job in terms of being able to do a good production. But it was, once you kind of looked past it, you could see it a bit more.
Okay, I've shown you mine. You show me yours.
Ooh, cheeky. Okay, so whenever you're ready, press.
Okay.
Play.
What a wonderful day. Got me feeling so fine. Such a wonderful day. The best day of my life. All my happy dreams are coming true, dear, and I'm smiling the whole day through. For high above the skies are blue, dear. I'm happy as can be, it's true.
So that was the Holidays as Usual by Heineken. That was made by Publicis Italy. Obviously run as a global campaign because we're getting it here in Ireland. The cut that we just watched there is slightly different. There's some extra scenes that was in the Irish one. One of the scenes that was in the Irish one that particularly stood out to me was when the oven scene there, where they're checking the roast, and the older person walks by and actually turns down the dial on the oven. So it's adjusting the cooking time, even when someone else is in charge of the meal in itself. I love that ad again because, similar to the TK Maxx one, it has the humour in it. Heineken are known for their kind of humour in their ads, or kind of having that non-linear type of ad. I think it worked because what happens at Christmas with people getting together, having to kind of fit in with other people's kind of rules or ways of doing things, it seems to be a very universal thing, no matter if you're Irish, Italian, American, English, or what have you. So I think there's a couple of things in that ad that resonate with a lot of people, and different things will resonate with different people about going home over the holidays. So I thought it was very clever use of insights and done really well from a production point of view.
What I thought was interesting about it is it's a really nice piece of work. It kind of covers everyone. It covers everyone's experience, from the oldest. like I love the look. I don't think that was on Irish TV where the girlfriend or the wife
taking off
looks
the
at
shoes.
Look, yeah, just gives him a look, and I was like, that's a great bit of, just because like Christmas is all around looks, because like everything's nearly unspoken, because when it's spoken it's very angry or pleasant. You know what I mean? Once the kind of fights over the Christmas table. But I think I love how it's all non-verbal, and it's just these little looks say so much, because that's what a lot of people, when you end up putting, I don't know, you end up going home, and it's more so, I guess, for older Christmases than it is for Christmas just gone, when you would have had more people in the house potentially. There's always so much noise, there's so much communication done non-verbally with body language, and people just being off with each other, or just not wanting to get involved, so they kind of shut off. And
there's a lot said without anything being said at the same time. Yeah,
exactly. It's especially like mothers, you bringing your new habits into their home, and them just quietly going, no, we don't do that here.
We take off. We have house shoes. So take
that's
off
not how you were raised.
The thing it reminded me of actually was Heineken came out with a creative. I don't know if it was released in Ireland, but it was around the summer last year. Called Back to the Bars, where it was when places were reopening and people were going back socializing. They had an ad that basically went through the new normal in terms of, you know, people not sharing food, or double dipping on dips, or kind of not cheersing and stuff like that. And it was done with a nice bit of humour. There's one scene where two lads go into a hallway, one at the other end, and it was like a standoff, as in like, what do we do? Because they didn't want to be beside each other. So it was that humour, and I thought that was that same type of humour is brought perfectly into this holidays as usual ad. It was very much a one thread, and I think it worked really well. Perfect for the Heineken brand. Yeah, no, it's a really nice piece of creative. I like it. I don't drink Heineken, but yeah, it's still nice that they run ads. But I don't really drink anything at the minute. I don't drink Guinness or anything. So, and I wonder if we'll see a bit more humour being brought into ads because of the avalanche of emotional ads. It feels like there's a bit of a, when it comes to Christmas, the default is we need an emotional ad. We need to try and make people cry. Not saying that's a bad thing or the wrong thing to do. It just seems to be very commonplace now. So things ads like this that have a bit of humour, or a little bit of a different slant in them, I think they land and cut through a bit more. Well, we talk about this quite a bit, and I think, I just think, especially in a group. So if you imagine when you're doing a production, there's so many people involved, and usually a joke, unless it's for TV shows, but a joke usually originates in one person's mind, or a concept of a joke, and then they have to tell it to another person, and then if they find it funny, it's like, okay, now this is something we can bring to more people. But the more people I think you get involved with a joke, the harder it is to keep what made the joke funny, because some people might take it up a different way, or etc. So that's why I think it is difficult in this day and age for humor to really come through. I think it is difficult to sell it in, because emotive seems to be the easier sell as a brand. You know what I mean? But I just think it's interesting, because if you go to I think Foyles Down and Hague do this great, where they do things where like each country is represented by a person in a house party. They do all these kind of house party sketches, right? But if you were to put your brands in a house party, it's like, and if you were actually at a house party, you want to hang out with the funny person. Like, you're talking about getting customers to resonate with the brand. If you do something that I find funny, that's great. But you got to take a risk. You got to take the risk of me not finding it funny. So, but it pays off way more. Like when a brand does something great and that really stops you in your track and makes you laugh. Just like people, if you meet someone out, or you're at someone, or someone introduces you to a new friend of theirs, and they're hilarious, you're like, oh yeah, they're great. I like them. They're good people. I hope they're at the next one. You know what I mean? Yeah. As opposed to someone who's maybe a bit too emotional when you're talking to them. You're like, okay, yeah, I get this, but this is draining. This is draining. It doesn't take away from them, but it just... The thing about the emotional ads too, obviously when John Lewis, I think they were definitely the flag bearers in this years ago, and because they were so, wow, what is that? They really stood out, and they could do, were able to repeat it unopposed really for years. About 3 or 4 years, they were the king of it, and then it started to become a bit ubiquitous with it. But those type of ads, once you see them once and the reveal happens in terms of what the emotional twist is or what have you, it's never going to be the same after the first time you watch it. Whereas with humour, you can hear the joke or you can see an ad that you kind of like over and over again without it becoming as grating. And especially if an ad is disposable at Christmas, it's only going to run for the 2020 Christmas or the 2021 Christmas. I think you have that kind of almost you're given that rope that you can push it out a little bit more and use that humour and go to town on it with your media spend over the November-December period, because you don't need it to work in February. You don't need it to work next Christmas.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I just acknowledge that I imagine every creative agency's potentially out there pitching funny things, and maybe clients want to make funny things, but just it just seems to have too much risk involved, you know. But you have a valid point where if you're only making it for 2020, take the risk. But it's tough. It's a tough sell in. But I think imitation is key, as you said. Like once someone starts cutting through with humor, eventually it will trickle down, and 4 years later there'll be humor everywhere, and there won't be emotion again, and then it'll swing. You know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when if next year, not next year, but the Christmas 2021. You know, we don't know what this year is going to be like, but if it starts to get towards the end of the year, at least resemble a bit of normality, what the kind of the temperature of the ads will be at that stage.
Yeah, you'd hopeful if the year improves, people are going to be joyful. It's like people talking about the roaring 20s. You know what I mean? So people are just going to want to look forward. So yeah, and laughter is key. On that note, that's the end of our first podcast. Thanks all if you've made it this far. That's great. If you haven't, hard luck. You've missed these tidbits. You've missed nothing. No, exactly. So yeah, that's the end of our first podcast. It's something we're probably going to do a little bit more regularly. And as we go on, we might have some friends of ours come on maybe and talk about ads that they like, or ads they don't like, or whatever. And if you want to get in contact with us, DM us on social if there's an ad that you would like us to look at, or an ad you want to even come on and talk about yourself.
Great. Okay, till next time.